Today I'm talking to Monica Dennis of City Home Collective, and I'll just have you introduce yourself as to what you do and what you want to tell people about when it comes to real estate transactions, and what divorce can do to a real estate transaction.
Okay, I'm Monica. I'm really happy to be here. I work with City Home Collective. I'm a real estate agent, and we also have a design team. We enjoy helping people find a new space where they will love to live, and I help people transition in all areas of their life. Divorce is a pretty major transition, and so I like to help people sell their home and get into a new home and figure out what's a good fit.
Tell me a little bit about the design side, because that is kind of unique. So what is it that, what prompted the company to say, we should offer a design component as well as simply buying and selling, helping people to do that?
Well, our mantra at City Home Collective is we want you to love where you live, and often it entails customizing a space and turning it into exactly what you want. So I come across clients all the time where we find homes that aren't exactly the perfect fit. What they need to be a perfect fit is a bit of customization and personal touch. And so we like to help incorporate the design element into purchasing homes, and that makes it a really easy way to turn something that maybe wasn't quite perfect into a perfect place.
Yeah, and that seems to benefit both sides, because your company is able to save a sale and make a commission, and somebody who says, well, I really like this, except for I don't like this window,
right,
or I don't like this part of the porch, how there's no portico or something on it. You can say, well, that's easily fixed.
That's easy enough. We can direct you.
Yeah, and our design team can sit down and let you know how long this is going to take, how much it's going to cost, and what it's going to do for you, or whether it's going to cause more trouble than it solves. That's interesting. With regard then to people going through divorce and your experience with that and the people that you work with, what are some of the unique challenges or some of the things that you can help with so that you can kind of ease their burdens?
Well, what I've witnessed from personal friends who've gone through divorce is that it's a pretty traumatic experience, and selling a home and moving is also a traumatic experience. People tend to be attached to where they live, and what I like to do and what I specialize in doing is helping people find somewhere new that they can create happy new memories and experiences. And I try to ease all the burden of figuring out how much your home is worth, all the details, all the market analysis I take care of, so that you have one less thing to worry about.
Do you see people having, I don't know this because this is not something that I get to deal with at my end of things, is do you see people going, I'm moving from a bigger house to a smaller house and I'm really depressed? Or do you see people moving from one size house to generally the same size? Or do you see people moving from a big house to a small house and saying, oh, this is great, it's easier to clean and stuff like that? I mean, what do people do?
I've seen all of it.
Generally, though,
generally people move from a bigger house to a smaller house.
And does that make them mad and sad?
It can be a very hard transition. I've seen people really struggle with that aspect of downsizing and learning how to kind of consolidate your life into a smaller space. But I've also seen where that has been empowering and maybe a bit liberating to move from a bigger space to a littler space and realize that you don't need as much as you maybe thought you did, and you're happier or just as happy in something a little bit smaller and different.
You ever see people moving from a big house to a smaller house and the children are the ones who end up kind of getting the short end of the stick? I used to have my own room and now I have to share one.
Yeah, it can be an adjustment for kids too. I've seen where they've gone from having lots of space to maybe not quite as much, and it just takes a little bit of time. And as long as you figure out, maybe as long as you move into a place where there's maybe a trade-off, like a bigger yard or something, a play park right next to it, it doesn't take much time for the kids to settle in and relax and adjust.
So your experience has been that as frightening as it may be imagined, a lot of the problems people fear never come to pass. Is that what you'd say?
I think it's always what you imagine something to be in the future is always worse than how it plays out. I think people end up going through something traumatic, and the anticipation or the fear of what will happen is always worse than what does happen.
Do kids seem to know, especially young kids, do they really notice tremendously the difference in space from going to a large to a small? I mean, do they seem to adapt, not just adapt, but actually don't really even notice or care?
I see that all the time. I think parents worry more than children about losing space. Kids are pretty adaptable and adjust quickly, and most of the time the loss of size doesn't even faze them.
What about going from maybe the quality of life too, where people say, I live in a big house, and one of the side benefits of living in a big house is I often live in an affluent neighborhood where people can afford to live in big houses, but then because I had to get out of the house and my income has decreased, either because I am now paying alimony or because I am now receiving alimony, and two people can't live as cheaply apart as they did together. Do you see people just going into a funk over having to move into kind of a seedier neighborhood?
I do. I've seen that happen before. I've seen people have a hard time adjusting to a different kind of neighborhood. But like I said before, usually the anticipation of something like that happening is actually worse than the reality of it.
What else do you see real estate agents doing for people going through divorce, either in selling or buying a new house, that should come as a comfort to those who find themselves in that situation?
Well, my job is to be a resource and help you figure out all different ends of housing transactions. So what I like to do is just provide people that are transitioning with as much information and be as knowledgeable of a resource as possible.
Here's a question you did not know was coming, so I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure that the viewers realize that this was not something that was planned in advance. Why do I have to waste all my money on your commission when I can just sell the house myself? I'm in a tough financial spot right now already, and that 6% is going to really help out. So,
well, if you look at the statistics, people that use real estate agents get a higher price for their home than if they don't. So paying the commission.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, you real estate agents, you're not that special, right? You don't do anything all that hard, do you? I mean, because you know that's what, maybe you've been doing it long enough where you forget, but that's what a lot of people think.
They do. I get that all the time.
What an easy job when you just go around showing people, oh, come on, how hard could it be? You just go put a listing up on MLS, and then you just go show people around.
You can't list it on MLS.
That's what I'm saying, you do. Yeah, so you guys put it up on MLS. Wow, that's hard. And then you go showing people stuff and you put some balloons on the street corner. How hard could it be? Would you help to explain to people what a real estate agent does? Because again, I'm not trying so much to sell real estate services. I don't get anything from talking to Monica. But I do know that when I've seen my clients try to sell their house themselves, unless they have some special arrangement where they know they've got a buyer, like a family member or a neighbor or something like that, sometimes it works. It's like, yeah, there's no need for a real estate agent.
It can work out,
but where you're just, where your divorce hits you like a ton of bricks, it comes from out of nowhere. And you're saying, all right, just like somebody who realizes I'm being transferred and I've got to sell my house in 60 days, or whatever it is. What does a real estate agent do for someone who, like me, who's not a real estate agent?
Well, my job is to be an expert in the housing market. So my job is to be able to give you solid financial advice about what your home is worth, what you should be paying for a new home, how you want to go about that transaction legally. It is typically the biggest purchase a person will make, and to not use an expert in that field seems a bit silly to me. There are all kinds of legal problems that can arise because of real estate transactions, like title issues. If you don't have a proper home inspection done, you can end up with termites. There are all kinds of things that people don't necessarily think about before they buy that I help them.
And like so many things, I mean, if people would sit down and study real estate transactions for 6 months or so, then they might not need your help.
They might not.
Yeah, but who has the time to do that? So as with everything else, you could do a lot of your own health care. You could do a lot of your own real estate transactions. You could do a lot of your own home repairs and auto repairs. A lot of us simply don't have the time or the inclination to do it. And so don't be afraid to sit down. And it sounds like, I don't know Monica, she was just gracious enough to meet with me, but it sounds like if your real estate agent isn't willing to sit down and explain things to you in a manner you understand, then you're probably making a bad decision.
Right. You should feel like the real estate agent you hire is a good fit, is patient, is educated, and will help you feel completely comfortable with the entire transaction. There shouldn't be any surprises.
And you're willing to do that?
Oh, yeah.
To sit down and explain it to people?
I enjoy that.
Let me ask you this. Are you even willing to talk to people that may not be interested in talking about it?
Yes.
Saying, hey, wait a minute, don't leave, sit down. I've got some more I need to tell you.
I like people. That's why I do what I do. I like just chatting, so.
Good. Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And before we go, would you please give the name and contact information for you and your broker? Is it a brokerage?
It is a brokerage.
Okay. All right.
So my name.
For those of you that don't know the difference, there is one. And so let's put that down so for those that would like to get in touch with you, they can.
My name is Monica Dennis. I am a real estate agent at City Home Collective. And you can find me online at cityhomecollective.com, or I don't know if I give my phone number, or...
Do you have an office number?
We have an office number. It's 801-715-5555, I believe.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.